Blessed be the Lord who daily loaded us with benefits.
Use me some kind of way to make your name holy.
Our Father who art in heaven.
Holy be your name through whatever I do today.
So we do declare that our God not only gives us the bread that we need for today, but we do declare that it flows in excess.
Your kingdom come through this podcast.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread. I'm like, look, I already have my daily bread. Like, you already fed me today.
Talofa, and welcome to the Daily Bread podcast. Man, I always say this. I am so blessed to have, this is the third episode of the Daily Bread podcast. I am joined by my beautiful wife as a co-host. And tonight we have a, man, what would you call this, hun? A specialty?
The duo.
First of its kind. Yeah, the duo. First of its kind.
Oh, I wish.
Are you, wait, hun, are you nervous?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, I'm nervous too. What if we don't have good questions? This is tanks. But guys, I just want to, hey, first of all, welcome.
Tag team.
Yeah.
WWE so.
Let's go. So welcome everyone, wherever you're tuning in from, YouTube, Spotify, Radio New Zealand, Samoa Radio, wherever it is, to all the 1 million that are listening at this moment.
Thank you.
God is good. God is good. And I just want to welcome you to the podcast. Like I said, third episode. We're still learning. We're still gaining. And I just want to welcome our amazing guests, Johnny and Jane Masters. Just give me a hand. Come on. Okay, so
Thank you so much.
thank you guys for coming on, making time. It's going to be a cool conversation because I've always said this. Anytime I have a chat to Johnny, I feel like it should be recorded. There's just something about you two that shine like growth, that shine faith, and it's pretty cool because as a couple, we met you guys at the same time. We started dating and we met Johnny and Jane at the same time. A bit of backstory, so we started dating and we got to see them as a couple and see their beautiful kids and their family. It's been a blessing to do life with you guys, and it's an honor to have you on the podcast. So I'd love to pass it over to you, a quick intro for yourselves, and then we'll get into about a bit of our content.
Age before your ladies first.
Hey fam, my name's Jane. Been probably married. We've been married for over 10 years now.
Wow.
It's been a lot of ups and downs in the journey, but man, God has been good for us. He's really stood firm with us, and you know, to be honest, like without him in our journey, we probably wouldn't have come this far through it all. It's been good. It's been a good journey.
Thanks. My name's Johnny. Better half Jane. And hopefully we can live up to the honor of this podcast. Because honestly, disclaimer, like man, like feel like I'm out work.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Forums like this. For sure, we're gonna mention about faith. Yes, like don't get me wrong, we're like all about faith.
Yo.
Of course, slack off here.
100%. All of us.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the space that we're in is we feel comfortable to be vulnerable, to share that. Man, I'm not perfect, and like honestly, I don't want any perfect people on this podcast. So broken, battered, and bruised.
Sorry, I'll just leave.
Turn mic number 4 off, please. It's awesome, and I want to welcome, by the way, and I want to go back and capture a bit of your dating time, because we came in your life when you guys were married and had kids. So what was the dating process like? How, like, Johnny, did you ask Jane out? How did that happen?
No, it's like, man, it's a really weird.
I
think at the same time, fast forward to it's like, if that didn't happen, like, I think things, of course, happen for a reason. But if it didn't happen, we wouldn't be where we are today.
100%.
Through all the struggle and the greatness as well. So it was like literally an overnight thing.
Yeah.
We were good friends.
Really
We
good
were,
friends
like,
in high
other
school.
relationships for a while. I think she just recently got out of one. Like I didn't know much about that, but it was term 3 of our final year in school.
High
So
school.
we're just about to graduate, 4 weeks out.
Wow.
And like typical me, biggest procrastinator, still to this day, like I struggle with that. We had a group assignment that we got at the start of the term.
Yeah.
It was nearly the end of the term, and we were like, oh shucks, we haven't. And out of all like subjects, it was studies of religion. So like, oh yeah, just leave it by the wayside until we have to do it. It was like literally
We'll put
the
together
11th hour. Mind you, we were
for that
planning it up
assessment.
earlier in the term. Fast forward towards the end, 4 weeks left to go, and man, the only way we figured out was like, I can't remember, but it was her suggestions, like go over to hers. I was like, oh, yo, if I'm allowed, I'll come. Like,
It wasn't just us two in the group. It was us two and one of
Are
our
you
other-
sure?
it was just us two.
Sounds like someone planned this.
It's straight up, it was just us two. But then
It's the Holy Spirit.
everybody like one of my cousins, and I was like, oh, okay, yo, okay, there's 3 of us going over that night. Where I got stung. Feel free to jump in, like, you know, I got stung big time. I literally thought it was only for work, like schoolwork.
Yeah.
But I was stuck on like a family computer in the lounge, and then if she doesn't,
Okay,
she doesn't mind, we said it
relax.
before. They were doing some kind of other homework, having a house party. And, but so I was like literally doing the homework, and then
Yeah, he was doing the homework.
Good man.
and then managed to get it done. So like,
See
we
the
kept in touch
brains,
for the next
guys,
day.
the brains.
But that's what started it. Like from there, it led to like
Friend, and that's what I saw initially at the beginning. It was like, man, he was just one of those guys that you could just have a conversation with, like at random about anything. And so he was really, really, really good in that sense. And yeah, that's where the whole like taking a like to him came from. But it wasn't until like the end of year 12 that ever
became
yeah. And
yeah, it was like crazy circumstances.
yeah, really crazy circumstances.
I shared this at our 10-year anniversary. Like we had like a little gathering, so we knew our vows, and like,
Yeah.
never shared it to anyone before. But it was a laugh. Now we're married to him.
Yeah.
But
It's funny now.
No running name. No running.
It's like, so like studies of religion, a Bible class, and then it becoming like a biology class. And 4 weeks out from school, she's from the west of Sydney, I'm from Southwest. If it wasn't for like that
From Mount
connection,
Druitt, Minto.
Wow.
I think, it would have just been like high and by friends after that.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
as with a lot of our school friends, as you do with time. Yeah, and then the dating process. So she wanted to sort of take a gap year. I was always set in my mind to like go to uni, and like of course it was Avondale, at least in mind, and had these dreams of like graduating a month before my 21st, if everything went well. But that we're sort of saying it's like many of the plans in man's heart, but it's God that determines the path.
Amen.
So yeah, fast forward, we actually like encourage each other, not in like one way but both ways, to give it a crack at studies.
Yeah.
And a boy was like we're very passionate people.
Wait.
This saying, and like we've shared it multiple times publicly. It was like talking with Johnny and Jane, like it wasn't
If you know, you know.
So,
At Avondale College. Shout out to all of our level 2 sisters at
crazy,
Avondale.
crazily in love, but at the same time,
Yeah.
like young adults having like left their family home, their parents sort of like
Yeah.
guide in a way.
Kind of like a loss of your sense of identity,
Wow.
sense of belonging. Like for me, like during that whole process, like I was going through issues with my dad leaving, and him and my mom were going through some issues, and then Johnny also was going through some issues with his parents as well. So we both come from broken families.
Wow.
So, and it was during that stage of when we first started. So
I think when we first started, like the split in her family life. Fast forward towards the end of our first and only year at uni at Avondale College. Then my family separated. Like my parents separated. Said it at the time. My mom lost her job because she ended up in hospital. She couldn't get back to work. She lost her job, and then me and her were going Harvey's on the accommodation part of our arrangement, staying up in Avondale. So I literally couldn't go back. And I've always used that as like, of course, there's the trauma attached, but as an excuse to not go back and study. I tried my hand at distance 2017. Yeah, just one thing that hopefully down the track can fulfill in a way. But yeah, once again, God's directed us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got 3 beautiful kids now.
Hey.
Yeah. Through all of the hecticness, the craziness, it's been the most beautiful blessing as well.
I think that's
a journey.
That's where I want to ask a question, because it sounds like, well, you guys came into each other's lives at the perfect time because you're both going through something.
Yeah.
And could it be like you guys almost were like those, like a puzzle piece? Like, something was missing from Johnny, something was, and you guys were able to kind of
100%.
connect the pieces. And like in those moments, where did you guys were just like, looking in each other's eyes and you guys were just there with each other and everything?
That zing moment now.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was like such a blur,
Yo.
And
Like for me, and I'll share this openly. Like when we first started, like, man, there was a lot of alcohol abuse. There was a lot of not a lot of substance abuse, but I had tried like different things. But the main thing that I was really relying upon when he came into my life was alcohol.
Oh.
And yeah, so from a young age, I grew up in a family where my dad was an alcoholic and still struggles to this day to move past alcohol. But like growing up in that environment and then seeing that and then meeting Johnny, and he hadn't been a part of that environment, so it was also something new, something different, and
I got caught up like seeing that kind of environment. I wasn't used to it, but I got caught up loud by it. Never directly got involved on that side of things. But I was at the same time. So but yeah, I think we sort of stuck in a phase for a while, just everyone was grinding just to wait for the weekend or even midweek. It was just parties be at her old family house. And then fast forward to we actually the year that we got married, at the start of the year, even ending on 2011, I ended up in a hospital real bad, in a real bad way. We required 6 weeks of treatment. And he was coming out of that, man, she just carried the team throughout our relationship for the most part.
Wow.
And for that, I could never repay her. But yeah, so she really stood by my side even when I tried to reject her in a way because of my own shame and insecurities. So anyways, but the start of the 2012, man, we stayed at this place in Minto. It was a great thing in terms of all the connections we had with our families, especially our cousins, our siblings. And it's at a place that we called the White House near the station, but that also had a reputation of being known, especially by our elders, our parents, and them, as the party house or and it was crazy party central in a way but at the same time the connections that we had, the memories that we made with our families, our generation, even some of it younger than us, it was the best as well. So we'll never regret anything that happened. It was amazing too.
It was supposed to.
And
it was we had to go through that journey in order for us to get to where we are now, because man, had we not gone through that house at Minto and just, yes, there was a lot of partying and yes, there was a lot of seeing different things that, we're not a part of now. It's if we hadn't gone through that with heaps of our family, bro, who knows where we would be right now in this moment,
That's amazing.
where God has put us, it's crazy.
Were you guys married?
We got married. That's time we got married late of 2000. So October 1st. So it was the biggest whirlwind. Hey, so we dated for 4 years. So, in the end of high school, sweethearts, so to speak, and we followed each other out to Avondale. Came back to our respective homes in 2000. End of 2009. 2010 was just straight grinding. So because my mom lost her job. My dad had left. That was probably the hardest from that moment, 2009 through to maybe 2014. Probably the hardest time, at least in my family's life. So yeah, just had to grow up very fast, had to get to work to provide for our little home at the time. Then we started studying like a diploma in youth work. Our accountants, our ways together, 2011. I don't know, that was her excuse to move in without family. And poor thing, bro, she got more than she bargained for in a way. Like, man, it was
Because during that period, that's when all of that stuff
very
started
tough.
happening with Johnny's family.
A lot of trauma,
Yep.
like from all of us involved, like everybody, like we've all gone through our own thing. Yeah.
I want to
Struggle street.
go.
No, just to get the story right. Like, so from Minto, you guys moved to your side.
Yeah, I'll say like prior, like I backtrack a little bit by mentioning what I just did, but it then eventually we said end of 2011 I ended up in hospital, and then in 2012 when I turned 21. Damn. Okay, went to the island, and then from we had moved in from 2011. We started together, and then we've been stuck together ever since.
Yeah.
Even
Wow.
before we
Okay.
say, so moving into our family home and then into the White House, back to my family home.
That was all in Minto.
It's all like married.
So
in
the
that
White House
time.
was in Minto. His family home was in Minto.
So with the whole alcohol thing, when do you think was the turning point that you both decided, or you decided, oh, I've had enough of this life. I want to break the chain of this generation.
And that was all her, like, man, like she felt impressed.
It was it was during a period where because for me growing up, like it wasn't that we turned to alcohol because it was the only way that we could understand each other. It was more so that it was like an escape,
Well,
and so when I'd sit and like drink with my siblings or with family members, I don't know, it was like an escape from reality of dealing with whatever you were dealing with at that time. And so I would just sit with my siblings, and still to this day, like it's hard to sit with them sometimes because when we do meet, it's in like secular places, or it's in places where they want to have a drink.
that environment.
Yeah. And you know what? Like I can sit there and be with them because they're my siblings. I
Yeah.
know them, like, and it doesn't matter that I don't drink to this day or
Yep.
Johnny, like, bro, they're my siblings. I would go anywhere for them, But I decided to make that change because when I would sit there and just the things or the reactions that you would get from taking part in it, like there are some things that you would do that you wouldn't do, after you've had a drink. And so just sitting there and just kind of realize I had that realization at that time. When Johnny and I spent time away from everyone, together in the islands, like, not in the environments where here in Sydney where you can go and be with family. But and it took me to get out of this country to realize that. And when I made that realization, I was like, you know what? I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to take part in that. And
That's huge because
It was.
the what you said, was the generational change. It's so like it's so easily passed on,
yeah.
and the fact that you seen it almost like a third person perspective is like, oh man, maybe I'm not meant to be here, or I want to try something new, and doing it together. Like Johnny, for you, bro, when she approached you like with the directional change, how did you feel?
Yeah, like I wasn't shocked or surprised, but I was so happy in the moment, proud, because I was like, "Whoa, where's this coming from?" Because there's been periods of times in both
I
our lives,
tried,
our
yeah,
relationship together
prior
where
to
it's
that.
like, at least on the spiritual side of things, like one will be like a bit more stronger than the other. And in all honesty, it's all mostly been her a bit more stronger or way more stronger, and like to encourage each other up and uplift each other. So in that moment, with that side of things, because I know that was like a big struggle for her. Because like if she doesn't mind me saying once again, is like going back to when we just finished high school, she got really sick herself too. So there was a bit of delay with her getting up to Avondale to join me. So she would have been there a few weeks or maybe a month after myself.
Yeah.
Then we went like up together. Yeah, so she got really sick, and it was because of like her liver, because of the alcohol abuse in a way. As a teenager.
So you're saying Jane was a tank? Jane was absolutely.
This is a barrel. Yes. He's barrel bigger than the kid, bro.
Okay.
So, like a bit of context.
Yeah,
And I said that the culture shock for me seeing that, like, and there was no judgments passed. It was just different to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. But then, like, I got involved in, like, and I actually, like, fell in love with it, if that's the right thing to say. So fast forward to when she made that decision all on her end, I was like,
Wow.
oh, I was so proud of it. And yeah, and then you know what? Like, I don't know if this is even related to it, but the very say, like, the day where she stopped, New Year's Day 2017, it's still my favorite day, favorite any like New Year's Day ever. Like, cause my family, we like chartered a few different boats. We went to some outer islands, so it's different so like tours and magazines or media outlets. Like this one beach in the Cook Islands is actually rated in the top 10 across multiple. And there's a however you say that. Say one for island in Aitutaki of the Cook Islands. The weather was perfect. There was like no clouds in the sky. The sun, like
The angels were celebrating that line.
coming off like
We're like,
that
we got
decision
you.
that she made. It was just like that extra bit special, and having multiple generations of family and friends together.
Yeah.
Go like on a short boat ride to this like little island and just enjoy like, feeding like fish to the giant trevallies and enjoying like all sorts of food like that. So from then till now, like she's been up since here in the 2016.
Congratulations.
They've like come
Princess.
big time.
That's huge, and the generations to come will benefit from the decision that you guys have made, and the fact that you guys did it together. How much of an impact, like, did you foresee this decision being so impactful with because you guys got 3 beautiful children? Did that decision come like in the thought of I want to do this for my kids, or was it more like just?
Yeah, part of it, yes. But another part of it was more so like I felt like I owed it to myself to see how I could like better from it.
Yep.
You know, like to be separated from, like to make that separation, like if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did Johnny do anything to like push you or like support you like in that way to like make that decision?
It looks like there was like no judgment.
Yeah,
from,
100%.
like, that's amazing.
You
Like,
know, like through it all, like I think from like because we started when we were 17, from that age up until even going to the islands to 2017. Yeah, like I've never ever felt judged by the sky, ever. Even during the periods of like trying to stop, you know, like stop turning to alcohol, but like I've never ever felt judged. And he's never ever tried to force me to stop.
wow.
He's never ever like try to stop me from or like try to control me in any sort of way. And so I guess like for me to come to that realization by myself and then getting the support and it was just like it was long overdue for me in my head, but I just needed
that's real unconditional love.
100%.
And that's the whole preaching the gospel without using words, like just acting like being loving, being caring, being there, holding her ear when she's speaking.
Never.
But yeah, that's awesome, man. And now you guys are married, 3 beautiful children. What's it like? Parenthood. Let's go there.
Parenthood.
We were parents to one handsome boy for 6 years of his life before we were blessed with our second and our first girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, a few years later, our most confident in that girl.
Can we have their names too?
Ezekiel is 11. Man, the easiest baby to look after. So chilled. Ever since, even till now, like I can like hand on heart say he's got a very good heart, very smart mouth like myself, very witty, very sharp. Man, like he's for the most part, he's got a very gentle heart. That I'm a child rate.
Oh man, I would have to say that this one's probably
Oh,
she's a handful, but she's also very, very confident. Too confident sometimes, but yeah, she is full. Funny story about Rain is I was working at Mountain View when I was carrying her, and my waters broke at a nail salon.
I remember that.
Yes, because we're working together. Yeah.
And I wanted that morning. She was like, hey, because she was saying like her sister was taking like, which is so cool, like taking her for like a spa day.
Like a pampering day. Yeah, and my sister
I
was.
was like, hey, are you sure? Because she's like full turn. I don't know, something might
I was
trigger,
overdue like a
I
week
don't
or
know.
something.
Oh, no, hey, you might get triggered somehow, but which ended up being a good thing, and sure enough.
I was like, nah, it's all good. It's all good. And like, I was like looking forward to it, because I just finished work and just going into my maternity. So I was like, nah, it'll be good. Yeah, went to the nail salon and they were doing my feet and then they hit a pressure point and
No way.
I stood up and my water broke in the nail salon.
Those
And
things are real, the pressure points on your feet.
and it wasn't just like water, it was like the works. It was like water, blood, everything you can imagine breaking.
Yeah. Because I've seen with the kids, I see you guys are very active with the kids. You guys like going out and I think one thing I remember seeing was you guys used to do the quizzes in the car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the Bible quizzes in the car with the kids. I thought that was because that was before we had Anaya. And I remember looking at it, watching like, man, I hope we can do that one day. Yeah, you guys wanted. How did that start?
Yeah.
I think like I'll go back to my old man. Like man, that guy growing up, real big on like random facts, and it just me and him together at least. My bro is like, I used to love watching like documentaries, and I grow rather watch documentaries mostly, cartoons, stuff like that. So like just random general knowledge stuff stuck, and they're real big on the Bible as well. Real big, so it just carried through and then into the next generation.
Yep.
And so where the general facts are like on fire, the school marks are, I'm like, just carried on from my old man, and to the next generation. It's funny, and we still sort of like do things like that to this day.
Yeah, it's not recorded, but like we do a lot of like trivia and like and our kids are pretty onto it. Like Easy is like pretty good like Bible knowledge.
Yeah.
Rain is slowly coming up there, but like she's still confident with all her wrong answers.
And one thing we've like recently have to learn, and they picked it up so fast, is like learning like the books of the Bible.
Yeah.
Majority of them.
Oh, I love it.
And like, and just seeing that like instilled in them.
Yeah.
Like, because like where we fall short, like these things that you can cherish and hold on to, like
Encourages
teachings
you.
and principles. You're like, wow. And then as they get older, of course, they choose how they want to live their life. But yeah,
There's also something that that we do every day in the mornings. Like we always pray in the car before leaving anywhere. And so now like our kids every single time it's like, but it doesn't matter how many times you leave the house like during the day. You could leave like 10 times every single time you leave. You have to pray.
yeah.
Even if it's like you've prayed 5 times already.
You just go
It's
down
like
to the
you
shop.
have to. Okay.
If we're running late, so it's like, oh, you know what? I'll run to take the kids to school, or like depending on their school days, like what at least Ezekiel.
Just keep us accountable.
And then when we come back and pick up, like, or if I'm picking up Jalen goes, we have to do it again. But it's like, hey, more prayer, more power.
Yeah.
Like, who are we to like try
It's
and
a good
discourage
habit to
the
pay.
kids? Exactly right. So it's like, because who knows, God forbid, there comes a day like, oh, I don't want to pray anymore. Like,
Yeah.
or like too ashamed.
Or like we're following other like family members in the car. And there's heaps of other family members waiting in the other cars behind us, but they don't know that we actually have to wait and say the prayer first. We're still sitting there saying that. Yeah. Oi, it's even Halo now. Like our 2-year-old, even Halo, like as we're leaving the house, she's like, oh, we have to pray, Mom, we have to pray. And I'm like, Rain already said pray. And then she starts closing her eyes and praying. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Even on the way here, like, same thing before we drop them off. And I love it, man. Like that.
Yeah.
Instilling that kind of,
Because there'll be times when you're just not there.
for sure.
Jump in the car, let's go, and then let's pray. You're like,
man.
oh yeah, far out. That's such a beautiful moment in your family.
yeah.
And like, what's so And I just sings, she sings her head off. Man. She will sing like when
The moment she likes Good Day by
Hurley.
Frank.
Oh, Frank, yeah.
Yeah.
You know that good day.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So she'll ask for it.
Play Good Day.
Yeah, and she's actually got a decent voice too. Like we love. So when she sings, we just let her go. And the other day we pulled up to a truck, and the truck it was a little bit higher than us, and her window was down, and she was singing it was the other one. There was some other song.
Big God.
Yeah. Oh no. It was this other song, but when she noticed the guy looked at her, she started singing louder, and I was just like, oh, man, I love that.
I got same faith.
I hope that this guy goes away going, what was that song? Just those moments, but I don't know, man. We've seen how close you guys are. Whenever you're together, you can see the bond, and Rain she's funny, Rain's funny.
She's like our most sensitive girl.
Okay.
And if it's over, because like she's sadly like picked up my physical sicknesses, and because she's so emotional, like, oh my goodness, like this whole week she didn't go to school, and she just had a massive flare up. But from being like so like good only like a week and a half ago, and then all of a sudden, like of course seasonal, and then emotional, or that girl where she's sensitive as, and then get to our youngest Haley, oh my, she's a tornado, bro. She's big boss energy, like.
She actually has a very like the way that I had her during our birth was like really traumatic birthing.
Miracle, that girl, I said, like her like whole name, like sort of like it reflects that, like, halo, or like being that kind of light, or like a lot of people like use that imagery, like sign it, or to angels sorts. And then her middle name's Anastasia, which the root meaning is like resurrection. So she's like outright resurrected, because she was like born like in like Columbus, and the other two coming into this world full of life, full of color, and like but then seeing her come from like something's different here. She looks like stillborn pictures of babies, and like I was like, oh please Lord, man, say that first.
It was like during that whole process, like after I just gave birth, there was a period of time where I couldn't hear anything. And then I just see all these doctors rushing in. But mind you, when I gave birth, I was on my knees too. So just like a little context so everyone can kind of understand is like, I had just turned around and like laid properly down on the bed, and I was screaming out to Johnny, like, what's going on? Like in those like few minutes. And no one was responding. Not the doctors, not the midwives, not Johnny. Like,
and you're trying to listen out for a cry.
I'm like, what's going on? I can't hear anything. Where's baby? Is baby?
Yeah.
Like, and Johnny filmed that birth, but not from the angle of where you can see my face.
Yeah.
And I've watched it like once or twice. I can't really watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's so traumatic.
So only one midwife stayed with her. The rest of us was a baby. I was speaking out to her like here and there, but just trying to like, I was just talking, like trying to speak life into like, a girl. Like you could see her like purple, lifeless, and like not even there's like faint, like anything, like just she looked dead. And then like with man, God bless like the pediatricians and the midwives that were on standby and helping, showing us the warming bed, oxygen, and all of us are just massaging baby, talking to her. And literally, and I say this time and time again with whoever I get to share with, because you know there might be an encouragement to those that are maybe been through something similar, or maybe, God forbid, in the future might go through something like that. It's like, man, just don't give up, just praying hard, aloud, internally, talking to the baby, massaging her.
Because I could hear him a little bit, and then I started crying out to God, like on the bed. And this is in that video, and I was just like screaming out to God, like, let Haley come back, like whatever's happening, like, just asking, like, what's going on, like, bring my daughter back, like, and just like, those parental, when something's wrong with your kids, like there's no one knows how you're going to react, but in those moments, like, bro, it's like if you're separated from your child, there's a different type of love. And so
And you almost become like a demanding,
oh
like, you know, I want
man,
answers type of parent.
yeah, like you have no right.
You hear and see
Yeah.
of people, like even family and friends, like you
Yeah.
know of like that have gone through that process where sadly their babies have passed away or not live very long after being born due to whatever complications. And praise God that that miracle occurred at least in our family life, you know. And I know we all go through struggles of our own sorts, but like to try and deal with the idea of losing her in that moment was crazy. But then literally seeing her life come back to her, like in sections, to like start hearing her faint breathing,
No way.
faint, like very faint cries, to the chest moving a bit more, then the color coming from like head, and then the very last part is the fingers and the feet, seeing it move and the colors come through.
Wow.
So all within a space of like 10 minutes, that whole ordeal, and I'm like, oh wow, man, and she was quite a sickly baby, like from that on. 2 weeks later, she was back in hospital. The pediatrician that helped deliver her, you know, he seen that like got baby on Jane, like she hadn't even had her like name registered fully. He came and
He approached me and like, you know, when we ended up in hospital again, that second time she had another episode where she went blue. And he was just saying like she's been having some respiratory issues.
from the birth.
Yeah.
But then he mentioned like I've delivered thousands of babies. She was in my top 3 scariest.
That he could remember. But, you know, during that period, like, I just remember, I
Shout
was
out
like
to
to Johnny.
You remember his name? Pretty sure it was like this. You know what? The disregard. No, but shout out to like the pediatrician team.
Yeah, he
Nah, I know what you mean about the
he just kept his
professionalism, eh?
cool, man.
Yeah, because
During that whole
we had a
process.
similar, well, no, not similar, but baby had done a poo inside Janice, and
Yo, same.
baby had to be delivered early, right? And how are you feeling?
I was just nervous, but then I was just like, oh, I need to get this.
Soldier.
Yeah.
Because oh man, I tapped on this earlier with another podcast, but the level of respect gained, like that Janice gained, and I'm sure the same with you, and the level of like I remember just looking at Janice and going, oh, shucks, she can have anything, like everything's yours now, because I don't know if I could go through what went through, and we had just gone in as a lockdown happened. So our midwife got asked to leave, and she had kind of held our hand through the whole 9 months, and so that was just a scary thought. But baby came out, and she didn't cry at first. She was quiet, and there was a bit of a. She came out with poo all over her, and so we nicknamed her Poo Head for a little bit, just like I would call her Poo Head now and then. But I remember the doctors like, professionalism. Calm, collected. After the ordeal that Janice gone through, I was like, yeah, sweet, we were there now. Bang, hey, baby's not breathing. Or they took her to their bed, and they had to suck out a lot of the mucus and all the poo that had gone through baby. And then she let out a big cry. But I'm on the same page as you. Shout out to the professionals, our doctors and the delivery streets, all the people involved. Were there for a reason, and
100%.
we vlogged it too. Eh?
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a
Have
vlog,
to.
and I'm sure she was getting sick of me because I was coming up with all these little skits, and she's like, "I'm having contractions." But I think I used that as a mechanism to kind of make it through, and
Yeah.
Keep it light in a way.
we filled the room with like scripture readings and just putting it out in the air and just talking, hey. These scriptures were prepared for us, for you especially, through this time. So we've tapped on your family. You guys came through some challenges, but I wanna talk on one challenge, and that's with your condition. If you don't mind me going there, I know that you've shared it with me, and you'll be very transparent. But I know that it was a big part of your guys,
Yeah. Especially, I guess, in the last maybe 5+ years, and then the last 10 months has been the hardest challenge personally. Like despite of all the blessings that we're surrounded with, and like the life from the God has blessed at least myself as an individual with, in my family, and in our network of, you know, friends, the work opportunities that we have, having our own family business, which that in itself is like because like that's been the biggest whirlwind journey too, like how everything's unfolded there, but then to like fight day in day out with such a condition where it's so unbearable or seemingly unbearable, but very little rest, constant pain, burning itch. I like have like severe eczema. I've had it for all my life, and I guess in my younger years all the way to my 20s, you very rarely would see it. Like, but then yeah, just like hit a real like dark spot in terms of I think it would be like depression in a way, or more so work related at the time, going back to around like 2018, 19.
Burnout.
And they're burnout, like real bad, you know, like, and then man, sure enough, it like reflected and then showed in my physical appearance and health. But before that was fine, and they're like, it is what it is, like, and what we're like dealing with today. But man, like going to Jane, like how she said, like there was like no judgments passed in there. And through her journey, and dealing with alcoholism and that, man, like she literally saw through my physical flaws and blemishes and stuck it out with me. Even when I'm like, every now and then it'll be like, I feel like I'm rejecting myself. So then like I push her and the kids away, and it's not fair to them. Or because when your mind's so warped and you're so drained constantly, you know, like only sleeping like
The devil.
dare say
Creeping in.
feel like 3 hours each, 4 hours each night, and never ever like straight. So obviously it's gonna like, you know, build up and take a toll, and so that's the battle that we face. So I face, and then of course it's passed on to my family, unfortunately on that side. But then on the flip side, like especially from the start of January, the first 3-4 months was absolutely like rubbish and hard. Yeah, it's really turned around a lot.
Amen.
Praise God.
It's improved a lot, and like like back and forth with dealing, you know, with massive ass flare ups. But yeah, like now it's sort of like, oh, you know what? Yes, it is hard, but we just keep fighting through.
God always take the wins with the wins and the losses.
We're not in heaven yet, eh? Otherwise, it's like no effect anywhere. Like, you know, we gotta have our challenges, as we all know. Is like and like with yourself, I really gotta say thank you. You know, like just being certain people in my life, especially recently, that's real come through, and like that I can open up with and be vulnerable in a way and like let out. And certain brothers and I'll make mention of them publicly will be one of our someone mates, Blanks. He helped me not only on the house side of things, he sort of like helped me to like be rewired in a way. Well, like, hey, have a crack at this. If you want to try something, hey, give it a crack. See if it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh, good, move on, try again. It's not the end of life.
Deal.
So like, you know, hearing yourself, being like a lot of sharing, especially this year with the health challenges. Sometimes we went like talk for ages, you know, far and few in between like yarns. But then when we talk, it's like, you know,
we go.
Never left day.
yeah, truly, like we're not day ones. Like you're from NZ,
Yeah.
we like met through like the church circle.
Yeah.
Like not going to the same.
I'll give a bit of background
Sure.
story, because I obviously I'm a convert, and when Johnny heard about my story, he approached me. And he's like, bro, I've heard about you, brother, and my name's Johnny, and man, there's something about a convert story. And ever since then, it's just been like Sky was just been in each other's background. But as soon as like we're needed, we're there. I feel the same way too with you, because I get gout.
Yeah.
I get gout, and as poor Janice is like, and sometimes I'm in bed for like 2 weeks. Can't even walk, and you know, you can only imagine what I can't do. But the way you look at Jane is the same way I look at Janice, because they don't deserve this, but they're still there. They hang around, and Oh wait, when we got married, I locked it in.
As much as we shout out, like, our doctors,
It's not going back.
I actually said it in my
banana?
speech. I said it in my speech, like, hey, you married me and my girl. But shout out, man, special mentions to our missus. Honestly, for the last 3 podcasts, there's been a very special mention to the missus, to the girls and the females and young loves.
we're nothing without them, eh?
Yeah, I think it's not said enough, and I
We
love.
wouldn't be who we are without your leadership.
Oh, man. See that?
I was just about to say that too. Like, as much as we shout out like our doctors earlier, it's like, man, the mums go for our mums, our wives, and every other like super trooper mum is like,
Yeah.
even in the home, it's like, man, like, yeah, we can do domestic work and like in certain aspects, but the way like our wives like take control of like looking after be multiple kids and us big kids, it's like setting everything up. It will take us all day, or take me all day. Like, but I see your vlogs, but you're up to it. I agree. Like, I can do the work, but I was like, man, like, how does my wife do this? How does my wife do this? Blah, blah, blah. So like,
We're just big kids. We're just their first kids, man. Nah.
true.
I want to, so thanks for going there, bro. And with the challenges with the condition and stuff like that. And to be honest, from my perspective, you're probably like the most active person I know that has such a, because I know that, and I hope this doesn't, ring any alarms, but there'll be times where we're chatting and you have open wounds.
Yeah. Even right now, like getting ready to come here, like every day, like, it's sore, but like, oh well, like it's what I'm faced with at the moment. Like, try and intentionally like become better, do steps to be better. As we all like feel with our individual pains and struggles and aches and whatnot, yeah, just hard to keep fighting through.
Keep fighting.
Yeah.
What kicks the old turn out the blood back? What's that?
But I feel like I've cracked so many times and been in like the absolute bottom of the like rubbish pile and heap was like, and then coming out of it like in the many over the course of at least my lifetime, it's like, hey, like, man, I've been through like that before. Why can't I get through this? Like before my family issues and the trauma that came through that. And like one of my nieces was born in the heart of that. 2011, one of my nieces was born in the heart of that struggle, right? That just brought life and love into my family life, being my siblings, my mum at the time. Like, it just gave us a lot of hope, but at least in that one part. So right now, like, my biggest like driving force to like stay strong, because man, I've like had so many dealt with like suicide ideation to like over the years, overcoming that. But then like, I thought I had like left that altogether, and then earlier this year, like when I was like would be housebound for a good 3-4 months, and like my poor wife had to like cop the bum of like carrying the whole team, plus running like our like growing business, like, and but everything was crazy. So yeah, like that crept back in, whole suicide ideation, thinking about that. I was like, hey, right now, this is very hard, but like, who am I to like impose a life sentence on my means? It is like, we'll get through this one day, and yes, we're here now. Like, yes, it is hard, but man, there's so many more ups and blessings that's happening in our lives than the hardship. It's like, oh man, like I can handle this pain. Like, yeah, it's sore, very, very sore, but oh well, we're good to go. One day that'll change in the twinkling of an eye. So God will be in that number, we'll be in that number, and then have to worry about any of the issues that we go through, gout and all.
Gout and all. Hey, let's move into business or like entrepreneurship.
Oh man, it's been quite the journey with the businesses. Like, we shut our shop with Graze Masters. It was during like that period where you couldn't even drive anywhere. I think it was all the radius of like 5Ks.
Wow, remember those days?
Yeah.
5K radius.
Yeah.
I think during lockdown, or when the laws just softened up a bit. I think
And you were bound to your LGA.
Yes.
before
Yes.
they birth to rain, like way before.
Yes.
And that was, man, that was going so good. So like, yeah, a bit of context. We had our family business at Gray's Master.
Yo.
During COVID time.
Yeah.
My CJ at the time lost her job.
Yes. So no, I resigned
Oh yeah.
because was I carrying rain or did I just have her?
If we fast forward, when you felt pregnant with rain, like because she had like extreme morning sickness,
Had really bad hyperemesis.
well, she was the master of what we did, and then like
I couldn't be around
it turned,
food.
yeah, so it turned around.
So just anything, like even the smell of like making up puffs.
Oh, no
So with
way.
the grazing, like we did a lot of like cob loaves, like different types, like desserts, and I just couldn't
Dessert
be.
box.
Yeah, I couldn't be around the food. So then we eventually stopped the whole graze masters. But
Just say they were like charcuterie, sort of like
yeah,
boxes to go,
Yeah.
cob loaves, fruits,
The cobblers were
yeah,
gangster.
that stuff. Man, that was doing really good. That was doing really.
that was like a random idea. Like
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I used to just do things like that for church, or like at random events we would make like these different types of we wouldn't even put them in a box. I would just make them on like boards
No, I
at
remember when
church.
she was
Like it
impressed
was
with
a
our
hobby,
idea. It was
it wasn't anything like
Yeah. During
Yeah,
COVID,
it
so we
was
started
all-
baking like banana breads that would just learn overnight, and then she like
as an outreach.
yeah, boxes to like some of the
Some of
older
the
folk in
elderly,
church.
Yeah, they couldn't even drive or like like couldn't leave the LGAs.
Yeah.
So then we would do a run with just like an encouraging like verse on it, and then out of that idea came Gray's Masters. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Like really, like like comes to like especially like Polynesians and food,
Yo.
and like you get the matter support.
Yeah.
But because she felt pregnant, like so her morning sickness was directly like caused by seeing our product in a way. So that
He was
turned
triggered
out-
by the cobs.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was doing really well.
It was doing really well,
It
Gray's
was.
Master.
They were nice.
She we had to stop because of that. Like so I could do it, but like I didn't have that touch, that finesse in it. That was all Jane. Like I guess as in most of her relationship, right, she carries hard. Coffee.
You know
What does she mean?
like that story of Gray's Masters. Like before that, the house that we were in was like an actual answer to prayer. Like because COVID had just hit, we had to move houses from other Doonside house into another house. So like I wanted to share about this because the prayer of getting the house that we got was like an absolute answer to prayer. It was so specific in the way that we prayed for it. It was like so specific in like had to have 3 rooms, like we had to have 2 toilets. It had to be tiled. Like everything was so specific about it.
I feel not because of luxuries, but because of like health wise.
Yeah,
like,
because of like our family,
and then the biggest reason was
like right next to school, the location,
like
everything.
was for like to open it up for like some sort of ministry.
Yeah.
Some sort like and from that like April 8th 2020 we started like a fitness sort of like industry like the
Out of
like,
that
we went to jam with you and the others of our friends, family. Yeah, randoms, which is cool.
So Gray's Masters.
Yeah.
I love the thought of like delivering it to the elderly with the tucked in message, and like what I can see from there is your heart of service. Going forward,
Streets.
Gray's ministry.
Yeah, that's real. Like really unashamed too to like sort of like with our preaching and share the gospel in a way. Like even like in our teas, like or even like in our logos, sort of things would like implement in a sort of Christian.
Yeah. Because
versus
remember we did the t-shirts and the uniform for you guys, and it was cool because you guys geared your whole family up. Like I thought it would just be like two t-shirts for you two, and then the kids, and then you just get the whole family.
Like Christmas gifts, say,
Yeah.
we like little gesture of like, hey, we love you.
You know what?
We're like really family oriented.
Yeah.
Eh? Like we actually get lectured sometimes because we take our kids everywhere. Like we don't leave them for holidays. We don't leave them for like like our families babysit here and there, but like we take them everywhere. We can't be seen without them.
We know our kids are like growing up and gone. Like, man, they will have many years to like be.
Yeah.
But for now, it's like center everything, like around the family
You
and enjoy it together. Yes, there's
grow with them,
not harder to like,
It's chaotic. It really is.
Yeah.
but
But it's our own chaotic. Like I would rather it be chaotic, together instead of being separated and just having the anxiety and fear of, being separated from them.
making memories about anything like, and hopefully great memories like, about anything like it is the most important thing for us. Is like,
That's awesome. So, Grace Masters, you're serving, and now you've moved into a different type of serving or service.
Yep.
Did you guys want to touch on that?
quite some time. I'm in my ninth year working in the disability industry. Jane been for quite a while too.
Yeah.
Then we just got our start like through an agency. Shout out to another Polynesian brother named Kalari. HCR gave me, and still to this day, many others, people of all walks, the chance to at least get your startup industry. And I'm doing that while struggling. My main job at the time back in mid 2016. Stuff happened in my old job, and leading to the end of that year, that was the same year like that Jane ended up giving up her liking for alcohol. Like, so it ended up like long story short, it's like, hey, like I'm gonna eventually like leave this job. They were so reliant on it, and
That was our main income back then.
Okay.
then any
Warehouse job thing.
just picking up whatever shifts were available. And it's like first and first. So literally text goes out, whoever's in first gets the shift. So there's no guarantee of set rosters with the disability job at the time, the mentoring and support job at the time. Come towards the end of 2016, we're going to the islands. Join up my older brother's wedding. I ended up putting my resignation, not knowing what was going to happen coming back.
Taking a leap of faith.
Wow.
Come back 4th of Jan 2017. Man, work was basically available every single day. Shout out to also Kaladi and the team at HCR, giving at least myself the start off there. And then that led into, very swiftly, thanks to like hookups from the brothers, such as, once again, shout out Blancs, one of the other boys named Tommy, all ended up working together at a place called Disability Services Australia, DSA. And like the best time on paper, like our house in Fairfield, where it looked like rough on paper, like it worked.
Rough doesn't even.
And most of their background would be like working in the CJP space, which is the Community Justice Program. So once again, like in jailbirds and like career criminals,
Murderers, sex
offenders. They're very heavy, at least on papers, but the way we run the house, it was like the best, like, And in terms of like, it was like respect, it was love, it was fun. Still smashed out all like the important stuff, and at the heart of everything, and something that flows through to this day. And I think it's an encouragement for everyone, if you didn't already know, is like relationships is like the most important. It's building that rapport, and that's all we had there. Oh, man, everything once again was another world, because like before you know, like we got the chance to act up into like a managing. That was only meant to be 1 week long. Ended up becoming like a few years. Moved on to like senior roles or bits. And though I wasn't chasing after those positions or roles, fast forward to now, is like, I didn't realize that all those experiences tie into what we do to this very day.
Come on.
Yeah, so fast forward, I was trying to pivot out of
a lot of you had the plan before you had your own plan. It was like setting you up.
And God's timing, right, is impeccable. Like, sometimes you're like, man, is anything going to happen? Everything in His time. Because I ended up like leaving that job. Things are happening. Like bad, like directed to me. It's like, hey, things look like a changing landscape.
Yeah.
He ended up leaving there, DSA. And about a month later or so, voluntary administration.
Wow.
This company, massive, like probably at the time was the biggest in New South Wales in the mental health space.
Just
Ended up going voluntary administration, but basically bankrupt, being around for over 60 years. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, so I gapped it like at a good at least in my family's situation, and then stayed in the industry in a different biggest blessing of my job too. But for myself, like, not to sound ungrateful, like, man, I suck at admin. So too itchy feet to like, want to get out into the community. So like, and I try and be as like carefully as possible without like taking up too much time. It was like that. Led into like, say, come Feb 28, 2022. I've been thinking about it for a while because of once again trying not to be ungrateful. It's like just knowing that this isn't me. But many people like love to be in this kind of role. Like, so yeah, shout out to support coordinators and the team at the time. They were so great. Like, especially the leader at the time, giving me the chance to work there at a place called Space Australia. So very, very cool, like environment and culture. But for myself, man, me and office work do not go hand in hand. Like even now, like what we're doing, I try to pivot out of the industry. Like I've never shared this before, and this is something I'll probably share for life. I try to pivot out of the industry March the 1st, 2022. Ended up on the website of my older bro, where he hooked it up overnight. Oh yeah, come tomorrow.
Wait, let's just backtrack because you didn't tell me that he quit.
Oh yeah. But I've been talking about
We have been talking about it
for a while.
But because he was the main income, I always advised against it.
Yeah.
I was just like, admin. Yeah, it makes no sense. I was like, it makes no sense. I don't have an income, so it's not a good idea right now,
So it was something in the moment, impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like, though I mentioned to her, I didn't know
Initially,
because I was at work. So when it happened, it was literally, oh, hun, like this happened. So of course, man, the anxieties and the worries just
yeah.
ended up on the work site the very next day. Hijacker. I hadn't been in construction since like 2010. Yeah, have a like big background in labor force, warehousing, etc. And then into disabilities. At lunchtime, so halfway through the day, at lunchtime, I received a random call from an ex-colleague, and man, this is where the power of God comes into play. Is like she found me seeking that kind of help, hit me up about a potential client referral. March 1st, that very night, like that last set of rains that brought in the big floods in New South Wales. So all construction sites shut
down,
and I just had to run it like with that opportunity there and then. And it was crazy hard, and whatever was presented, yeah, I thought.
Mind you, for that period, because he was doing the construction job, he had to purchase a lot of tools. And I still remember, like, as you can imagine, money would have been tight back then because, he had quit his other job, and like I wasn't sure like how we would be, like looking forward into the future. Like, are we going to be okay to pay our rent for the next few weeks or, like those kinds of things. And so I remember him spending like a couple of hundreds on like these tools for the job. And I was just like,
I don't know how to use it, but like relying on my older brother.
What is
me? Hopefully he has the patience to like mentor me in that moment. But like spending like
so
hundreds
impulsive.
of dollars.
It was just so impulsive.
Spend hundreds of dollars only to use it for like one shift.
Yeah.
Floods happen, where like the floods are blessing. Like I mean, like
and Noah's Ark. Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people affected in a negative ways from those floods, and they say like I don't want to like knock that.
Yeah.
The notion of like, man, the floods are blessing, at least in our lives, straight away. But it was hard. It was very hard, man. Like it was like pick up whatever job is available, and I think like anything to take away from this for anybody that hasn't already like given it a crack is like, man, just run all up and try your hand at one. Especially if you're passionate about it, because I absolutely I was trying to pivot out of the industry, and
it ignited something.
From from child, I've always wanted to be involved in, and my scope at the time was like youth work. That's all I thought, or ministry, pastoral ministry. It's youth work, pastoral ministry. I didn't feel like spiritually I was up to the standards, so I always like run away from the Chuck the Jonah So yeah, redirected that energy, thank God, to community services. Back to the pivoting, man.
Oh yeah.
Like yeah, good encouragement for everyone's man. Like, especially if you're in a place like that, like if I could encourage everyone, is like try and like set things up before you, like impulse control is quite poor. Struggle with that every now and then, but try and set things up first and then run with things. But in the moment, I had to do it. Had like of course kids to look after. Our third baby was born at the time. There was like, of course, a lot of worries on the financial side of things at the time. Man, the way like the blessings just flooded in from that moment. And mind you, I'm trying to chuck a journey on another front and run away from the industry. But always love, like it's a passion, like literally passionate to try and be involved in the community services sector, or as I said earlier, our pastoral ministry, which hasn't eventuated. But yeah.
You're in your ministry, that's why.
You're in your ministry.
I feel like if 'cause we have spoken about this many times, you know, him wanting to go back to complete his studies of theology, and I really honestly feel like if God wanted him to do that, it would have been done by now. And I feel like he's in a space that God needed him to be in, and he's planned God's plan was always this all along. And who are we to, you know, go in and speak against what he's already put in place for us, you know? Especially if like our parents have prayed for us to do better and they've already foresaw like what their children would be like. Yeah, so I feel like he's already in this ministry, and like, man, there are many times that he always thinks that he falls short. But then God's always just like, well, here's another blessing to remind you. You know, here's another something, or here's someone else's life that you've been a part of that's truly been blessed by something that you've done, you know.
Wow.
So it's been plenty of times where we think it's not a plan, but it's always been part of the bigger plan. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically how what we now call like M&M or Mates and Mentors started from. Yeah. So it wasn't something that wasn't planned ahead. Like thought about it years and years ago, like doing something similar. And then when it's
a leap of faith.
Literally leap of faith.
How did you come up with the name? Like Mates and Mentors? Yeah.
Felt like I don't know, impressed in the moment. It was like looking at like comparing those two names together, like Mates and Mentors, like, and the whole idea of friendship, relationships, or mateship,
instead of being like something generic, like any company,
like something
support,
something care, like which is
okay,
which is all good.
Yeah.
But I really like wanted to identify with something that like means something close, unique, deal, and so the idea of like, you know, being a mate and a mentor is like, it's not so like if you were, or if I'm your client, like, you know, I'm like, so we refer to our clients or our participants as mates, you know. I want to label them as like something to do with like a business transaction.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I want it to be something that's like a human type
interaction. Yeah.
So then like, so our mates and our mentors, like, you're not like just one thing. It can be sometimes, like many times, sorry, like our mates, they mentor us. You know what I mean? Like we're always
it's always, you know,
give. It's like, yeah. So just found impressed in the moment, and like even our slogan, our motto is like mentoring through mateship. So just find it really catchy and meaningful.
Yeah. Always comes back to relationship building. Yeah.
And even down to our logo, it was like, man, what's something that we can pay homage to, like our roots. You know, I'm from one of the smallest countries in the world, like islands, and also the biggest island in the world. It's not Greenland. It's not Greenland, but it's not Greenland. Australia. So then, yeah, like we tie that into like our logo and like really like vibe with at least like, you know, like how it started with us too.
Yeah.
That, you know, this was early 2022. Mind you, our youngest was born in so she was heavily pregnant with our youngest. So like, man, even more worries at the time when I tried to pivot out. So she ended up being born in June. This was started March the 1st, 3 months prior to giving birth, basically. And then we had that scary birth. So everything was crazy, roller coaster ride, uncertainty, a lot of anxiety, worries. And every single time God answered, provided the needs and more. And then fast forward to now, man, we've been blessed to like experience so much growth, and build a like God's built a really beautiful team around us. Mostly started off with family and friends, and then now we're like got team members like joining us that we don't know directly or personally.
Wow.
And like just the way things are like unfolding, is like, man, who are we like to doubt, God, if ever? Like when God's blessed us with not only M&M, our experiences with Blaze Masters, on the business front, and then just the family life.
Nah, I love hearing your perspective and like, how, I guess, the bit of history and the context, because I don't know if you know, but you actually inspired me to jump into youth work. There was a lot of conversations. I think you said to me, bro, you'd do well in youth work. And I'd done youth work, youth work back in New Zealand, but I never saw it as a career. So, hearing your story, this is like, I'm sitting here going, yeah, I do remember that. I remember seeing that and talking to you throughout those times. Because you'd check in now and then and be like, have you done anything yet? And I'm like, oh, nah.
And mind you, to be fair, you had a little start with us too.
That's when he left his job. Like,
because I was sick of my job, and I was like, I messaged her in the morning, how would you feel if I resigned today? And she was like, yo, go. Like, I know we're going to land on our feet. And then I think I got in contact with you because we were talking around that time. And that was cool. So it was awesome to hear your side. Now, I would love to.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your beautiful wife's side. Just hearing what Johnny just decided out of the blue to leave, to leave, and then what was going through your mind in that moment? Like, did you turn to God, or were you just like, all the emotions just came? You're like, what are we gonna do? Our kids, finances, because us women, we worry about our finances. I know we do.
I was like, to be honest, I was really upset with him, although we had spoken about it many times, about him making the pivot to jump out. But I think when he eventually made that change, I kind of could see from the other side, like, he went through a few burnouts. I don't think it was just one. I think it was 2 or 3. And so I had seen kind of the mental health side be affected. I had seen what it was like when he was at work. I seen all of the late nights. Like there were periods of times where I could recall him sitting in the lounge on our dinner table for like hours and hours, and I'm coming out telling him like, that's enough, like don't worry about work, it's always going to be there, like doing those normal, wife things. Like come to bed, that's enough, like work's going to be there tomorrow, whether you wake up tomorrow. It's still gonna be
there. Don't do it, guys.
Don't do it. We didn't. I didn't do it.
Did it last night.
It was truly like seeing both aspects of it, like, the pros and cons of it. But then understanding too that he wanted to make the change for him in the moment because he felt like it just wasn't working, and like just trying to also be supportive as well. But I had a lot of anxieties about, making ends meet, and how about if I had, I don't know, something went wrong with the pregnancy, like all of those worries as you do.
Heavily pregnant at that time.
Yeah.
That's like the hardest pregnancy.
Yeah. With Haley's pregnancy, it was probably the roughest of all 3.
Yep.
I was actually hospitalized a few times with Haley's pregnancy. I had hyperemesis with all 3 of my kids, but I had it the worst with Haley. So I was hospitalized and I was on a lot of endo.
Wow. That's strong stuff.
Yeah, I had to use endo because I felt like nothing was helping with the pain that I was going through, and I was using a lot of different medication, but I only found that when I had endo, that truly helped my sickness settle. You know what?
Severe manic sickness, by the way.
Yeah, but it stayed throughout the whole pregnancy.
Yep.
So some people usually have it like first trimester or a little bit of second trimester, and then it usually phases out. I had it throughout the whole time.
Sheesh.
To that whole like, stillborn moment.
Yeah. And then I also had like COVID during that pregnancy, and yeah, it was a crazy ride. But coming up to the time when we decided to go forward with Eminem, I feel like it was truly like a light bulb moment.
Yep.
It was like God had already spoken to us or like impressed on our hearts to do something similar to this, but it was just him waiting on me, Johnny, to take that initial step to like give it to him or like fully trust in him. Because I felt like there were many periods of times where we were offered to do something similar to this, but just always us two, like, having a Jonah moment, like, nah, we're not ready, or nah, I don't feel like we're good enough to do something like that, or like, are we really people to help with service, or like, like always having that self-doubt and I don't know, like just those thoughts, those intrusive thoughts that just constantly like hang around in the back of your mind, like how would if this, or how would if this, or so I feel like if we continue to listen to those thoughts, we never ever would have taken the leap to actually start. And I remember when he did the first few shifts, I didn't know like what to expect, and because it's all trial and error, like we're not business people. We we don't come from families that have like huge businesses or like are even trying. Yeah, like we're the first in I'm the first on my side to actually start something like this.
And how did you navigate that, like as a woman in the family, like the lady of the family, as a mother, as a wife, like
to navigate it, honestly, like there's I don't even know, is there a book? Is there a guide? I don't know.
Did you did you decide like just I'm gonna read up on it, like, or I'm gonna
just kind of like just go with the flow, if I'm really honest. I going back to our experience with working at DSA and my experience with working at Mountain View, like I worked as teacher's aide for like I think 6 or 7 years. And I worked with all sorts of kids. It's not just, like I don't even know what you would call it, but I worked with kids that were on the spectrum, like, kids autistic, like all sorts of different needs. And then drawing on the experience from DSA, working with people with all sorts of abilities, to starting Eminem, it was really just a kind of trial and error through it all, honestly. There's no set way of having a form to follow or a checklist to be like, we did this, 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 this. No, we did it so backwards.
Everything's been left in front of us,
like,
on the floor.
Processes out the window, like, honestly.
But now that you're like, well, how many years are you into Eminem now?
I think we're just coming up
As a company, like just over a year and a half.
And how many employees?
Maybe 40.
40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A mixture of subcontractors and employees. Mention of processes before that we're sort of like just finally getting to the groove of seeing and utilizing the need for systems versus it makes so many things everything seamless, whatever the specific need is, make sure you have proper things in place.
Yep.
Systems and processes, whatever that looks like, to aid units. And if you don't mind adding in, like what I started as an independent support worker, and then up until John David, and hey, David, double from it, health issues, and still doing it today. And remember they ain't got a motion and then she like taking it to new heights, like praise God for like the things like the last public holiday just passed us like 2 weeks ago. But we actually went, did not want to go in. It was the Monday, right? It's the public holiday. Everyone's chilly. Anyways, me and her went in like together to the office. where we pumped out like a 10-hour shit day.
Wow.
But man, the amount of things I seen her do, like, are really important. I was like, what the? Whereas I was just dawdling around, I was doing like work for real.
You were playing
but
PlayStation, eh?
Yeah.
no way, like, I was like falling asleep.
He was moving one object to another place.
So I mean, me and the office don't go hand in hand. Is like, I need to be out and about. But man, she's taking it to like crazy heights. Like, literally, like, not trying to butter her up or anything. It's like, even ask our team, like they know. So she knows when to put on the different hats at the right time. And for me, I'm a bit too chilled, or maybe a bit too like soft when it comes to like making executive decisions, especially the hardcores. She's always one for to be like gonna give grace and chance to and that, but once, twice, and after that, like when it's needed, like, she'll like really put her foot down respectfully. So good, praise God for like having her now as like the head of our team.
It's beautiful, sis.
But if she says we just follow, in line with the mad ideas that our team come with, not only our fellow leaders, the 6 of us leaders, and
Build off each other's strengths, you know. Like the biggest thing that found with working with our team is that the power of delegation, you know, management. It's huge. Some things that we have tried to delegate with different aspects of work things. Like you truly know who's able to do one thing and then you know who wasn't able to do one thing. And I guess we always draw to everyone's strengths. You know? Yeah.
Well, then even like struggle with the fact that sometimes you can't do certain things as good as you can or others.
Someone else, yeah.
And our leadership roles are so, like the way we lead is so different, you know. So like I feel like the way that I lead is like I'm more firm but fair, and like have a balance. But my husband, he's too soft. And like he knows, we all know, like, you know, when
you know your strengths and your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah, and I feel like some, like in some aspects, like, man, people try to take advantage of our kindness. Like there have been many moments, you know, like that I feel
And others is actually like try to snap us out, like, hey, stop doing this. Well, you're the only one that's gonna suffer. Like they like, man, seeing our team where like especially our leadership too, like they're not all yes people. Like bro, like we love that. And then there's one thing that we never want to change in our culture, Eminem, is like having each set up to their own way. You go in life, it's like, but having this place, it's like being casually professional. It's like, you know, how casual is too casual, how professional is too professional. Yeah. In our line of, in our space.
Finding that balance.
Finding that balance, especially when it comes to dealing with the care of other people. Man, people that trust you. Their lives into your hands, or their children's lives, their parents' lives, dealing with all sorts of situations, so that never been trying to balance your own life, livelihoods, how it makes up matters. And by the grace of God.
So what's Mates and Mentors? So you've been in company for a year and a half. What's next, or what do you see Mates and Mentors going towards, or what's the bigger picture, or is Mates and Mentors it for you?
Nah, definitely not, man. If anything, like to like, you know, now like we're not scared to like try anything, whereas before hesitant to like take steps. Like, hey, you know what? Like now that we're doing this, so like anything that we want to do, let's try it. But it'll always be around passion jobs, passion projects, or things that benefit others in a way. Like, say you would never see us going to start up a club or something. You know, we'll never get like a shisha bar, or like, you know, like people doing the sweeter, that's you know, like, but like for us, it's like, nah, man,
add value.
Yeah, we'll put it in the earth like for a reason as Christians. Like, though we may not be the perfect example, that for sure, so many times, for me, like, a lot of us be like procrastination, anger management can be terrible at times, impulsivity, whatever that looks like. But man, God is too good. Like, do anything. There's some things in the works, but like, hopefully with better time management, we can sort of move into these different things. To some hours.
Going over there and being present, and when we were over there, I wasn't supposed. I was going over there to actually try to do a little bit of work, not work the whole time, but I was planning to like try to work, here and there. But funnily enough, like when we got to the airport in Samoan, I went to access my emails and like I had no access whatsoever.
Oh, what?
It was the first time ever that I've been like in the dark about Eminem for those 2 weeks. And you know what? Like felt
It was meant to be, for you. Like I was like checking in like with everything, just to like, okay, this is going well, but maybe there's a bit of challenges here.
Yeah.
I guess the reason why she got it, the Samoa idea is good. It was eye-opening at the same time. Beautiful, eye-opening. But we want to sort of like get into more community work, especially when it comes to our roots. So planning hopefully a trip there mid-year next year. Jam with like local schools or orphanages.
With some of our teams.
School holiday program.
Collabs.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's something we've discussed as a team to try and do.
Next year?
Yeah. So we're trying to think outside the
Kind of like a Stormco kind of.
Yeah, like similar to Stormco. Service to others really matters, like school holiday program of sorts.
Because I think our school is going to Samoa next year. Yeah. So they went to Tonga this year.
Nice.
And they're going to Samoa next year.
There might be
Yeah.
there might be some stragglers.
Stuff like that. Always trying to like think outside the square. Okay, what's next with for Eminem? Like besides, like man, we've been blessed to like get a like massive influx of like mate referrals, and man, like
That's actually been like one of my dreams. Like when I was like younger, when I just first started IT in a traineeship, was like to like donate like old laptops or like refurbished laptops to Samoa, like to villages and stuff. But yeah, it's
How cool would that be? Though,
still
man? Imagine the faces sitting in front of like a
That would be amazing, man.
yeah.
do it.
Like what a
It is like a saying. You like, I think last year you kept preaching this about, especially like going off that like Nike slogan, just do it.
Yeah.
And anything, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out, man. Like, just give it.
Have a dig.
yeah harder.
And I think that's been the beautiful is like watching you guys from afar is like just seeing like you're just rolling things out and you're just having a go, knowing that you've got the backing of like God's got yous.
Yep.
Especially like one thing I always try to remember is what God has taken me through. Like that helps me get through the next. Like you've heard in your
All those
testimony,
trials.
all those times where you're down to your last $50.
Oh,
And you're like, you're like 12 days away from the next pay. And then somehow
it happens.
good, it happens. And sometimes, a lot of the times actually, you just like you get upset with yourself because you go there, your thoughts go there, and they're like, man, I have no right to doubt my God.
yeah.
And so many testimonies we've seen that, we've gone through it too.
So bad.
Yeah. But it's awesome to
But
see.
but then do you get to that point where like it's like, oh, we're down to our last 100 or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, what's God gonna do? Like, what's gonna?
It's not my problem. It's God's problem.
Yeah.
Just sit back and watch and how creative He will
Yeah.
supply for us. And man, honestly, thank you so much, because the testimony and seeing the whole shape of it, Mates and Mentors is actually the fruit of your obviously your whole testimony, because at first, this is the way I see it. At first, it was you served each other, and then you moved into serving others. And I think since you've been serving others in church, because I know with church and Mountain View Church, heavily involved, and just their story of like you would send boxes of goodies to the elderly. Like, I know for you guys, for you two, it'll be such a like a humble. Oh yeah, it was nothing, but those moments are huge. From that service, moving into serving within your community, in your church, and now you got the outward pour of mates and mentors. Man, I just want to give you your flowers. Like, congratulations! Like, that's huge. And to be honest, in our relationship, it's so encouraging seeing you two, like, just shoot. And I want to just affirm you in that space of keep doing it, because because I saw your face light up when I said what's next, and he was just like, oh, when I said is mates and mentors it, and he goes, oh, definitely not.
Just scratching the surface with that.
Me and my bro, like me and one of the boys at work,
Come on.
kind of bonds where like that they can't, but like because of like doing stuff like Eminem, like reached out to him earlier, just before I went to get the islands for a bit of treatment for sickness, and that helped push through a lot of like that aspect of things. It was really encouraging. But we're starting like a new thing, bro, to like say, so I was trying to at least start a thing that's called maestro, play on the word master, being in control of your life, your destiny, or whatever you're doing. And it's actually like similar to Everlast. So it's gonna hopefully be a combat sports type business. But because we're doing stuff like Eminem, we're like, hey, how do we just continue chasing passion projects whilst trying to preach, teach good values of sorts, you know, like say on this side, because both of us are him. He actually has fight experience where I'm just a fan. Because of the health and fitness side of things, we're like, okay, this is a good message that we can spread around us. So then, but we've literally got boxes now, headquarter at Eminem, full of like combat sports, boxing gloves and like that we designed from the scratch out, like in the inside to the outside, and then in the entwine like Polynesian, roots into. So like in there, like we at least got to that stage, and now how do we like start moving with that? So that's one thing that I'm doing just recently, sharing, some things that she wants to sort of move into as well.
Share.
Constantly on the move, these two.
Always, if you're not busy, what are you doing? So yeah, like a lot. I really wanted to upskill, hence how our course came about. Currently doing dual diploma in counselling services.
All four of us in here.
Yeah.
So many of our other students.
We'll see how that journey goes.
Are you enjoying it? I'm liking it. Yeah, it's good.
I've actually committed some time to it, and I am really enjoying it. Are you enjoying it?
Committing to watching everything happen. Do more of the work 100%. But like the ladies are killing it. I think yourself
from the get go, I really, really wanted to look into it, because I really want to upskill and learn more, and and also the counseling kind of like that. When I saw that they were together, I was like, oh yep, that's the one that
the counseling I really connected with too. Like
I so
really interested in. We'll see.
Self-development, eh? How important is self-development?
100% self-care,
Self-care.
self-worth.
I'm like the epitome of the opposite way of what not to do. Hence the big burnout periods. And like the way I'm looking and feeling right now is the result and end product of it. I thank God I'm still alive. So do the opposite, everybody.
Do you guys have a self-care routine or self-care
Nay.
Here and there. Yeah, we're doing a lot better now.
Yeah.
Do you find it happens in waves? So you do really well because you're kind of needing it.
Yep.
And then you feel you're comfortable and you're like, I don't need it anymore. And then something comes crashing down. Okay, I need it again.
I think my one has always been fitness mostly.
Yeah.
But because I've been physically restrained.
Right.
Man, I've been dying inside. But man, just refocus that energy to
our children.
at least train with I just say like, man, like seeing like especially my son and then man, like the last 3+ weeks or so, like he's been like giving it a mad crack in the last few days, jamming with some of his cousins, and like it's always been like on and off with like the family and friends,
Yeah.
like or even like the open house, free workouts together, all community thing is like fitness is one of the biggest things. And then also like little escapes into nature, constant family getaway.
Family getaways.
Always gapping and mucking around.
Yeah, that's our thing is like, man, if we can switch off, just up and leave. Sometimes it's, actually most of the time it's not planned.
In the moments. We went away last weekend, but that one was planned by the ladies and with some of my siblings and a lot of our cousins and friends.
Just for Johnny and I too, like, there's so many different things we're involved in, especially like because of work. Like sometimes it's just good to just pause in the moment as a couple from everyone else and just have time with just our children.
Yeah.
So we live together and we work together, and man, I remember it's like some people saying like, how do you live together? How do you work together? How you're always with your kids? You take every single holiday together. I'm like, he's me, and
I love that.
Like this very like praise God for people like Pastor Raul. There's some examples of like a godly person, but we
mentors along the way.
We had our 10-year anniversary, like, right, and this made me break down in like the happiest way, right? Like he was going through like the renewal process, and he started off well, like, this is the thing that I call the mess. He went to the root of our name meanings, and what you guys saying is like, God, like, I am her and she is me. Our names literally have the same root meaning, except from like I believe the Latin word Johannes is nothing, and then like.
We didn't even know this, so it's like Raul.
That's cool.
I'm gonna look at the meaning because I had it in my mind, but I've gone black for a second. But I let her talk, and I'm gonna look at the meaning. But when you hear this, you're like,
oh, come on, right? Yeah.
It's like we were literally meant for each other. Like,
wow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, like some people question that, because we're always together. Every single family thing is together. When I'm with my family, he's always with me. There are only very rare moments that we're actually apart. Like we've chosen to be like that. Through everything, like there's no other person that I'd rather, be with,
Right.
So that's why when we talk or like when other people say things like that, I'm just like, oh, that is like the mirror.
Yeah.
So if I don't say something or whatever, like go to him, and he's the same.
Yeah.
If I don't say something, just go look for Jane or whatever.
Literally.
How'd you go with that meaning?
Something to do with like God is gracious. So like I am like the male version of her and vice versa.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Myself, it goes back to the
So there are times where you want to separate, and that's when I truly believe your marriage starts is in those moments, when you really, really want to be far from each other, and different things are happening all the time, and
definitely a lot of
that's where marriage
times.
starts.
So yeah, it is. Yahweh is gracious and merciful. God is merciful. God is gracious.
Wow.
So for like when he was sharing that, like
we had no idea.
That Varanera ceremony, I was like, whoa, yes. I just broke down.
Shout out to Pastor Raul.
Yes.
Like, that guy is the man.
Well, fam, it has been amazing. It has been amazing hearing your story, your testimony, the come up. I would say the come up from your dating through to your marriage and through to your family, and now you guys stand on a business that is serving people in the community, and it doesn't stop there. I guess from myself and Janice, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable and transparent as well.
You make me want to think, what am I doing?
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna go look at my checklist now.
Yeah, I know.
But no, and so like we laugh about it, giggle about it. Right now,
it's true.
but it's literally what we're gonna do. We're literally gonna look at ourselves and go, hey, okay, where can we serve more, or where can the capacity be stretched here?
Yeah, we're so grateful to have you as like, a couple to influence us and to, share your journey. Like, honestly, I believe that God allowed you to go through everything that you've been through to be able to share this testimony on this podcast, or to share it, in work, like at work, and to impact someone. But yeah, every bit of struggle that you've been through, every bit of pain and happiness, it's been a blessing to me.
Thanks.
At least, yeah.
And I've also seen some similar traits too with our relationship. Seen it here, like just hearing their testimonies kind of flashback to ourselves too. So, man, thank you so much. And yeah, it's been an honor. It's been a privilege. And you know what? Like I'm going to say this. I'd love to have you on, like,
Yeah.
episode 50 or like episode 100 and see where he's at. See if Johnny's like, you know.
Probably have to zoom you in from another country.
But yeah, thank you, fam.
Thank you.
And it's been an awesome episode. I can't wait to release this. I can't wait to share with the world who Donnie and Jane are, your family, and then, man, mates and mentors. So, sweet. And that's, man, fam, that's a wrap on episode 3. The Masters. Hey, the Masters, they already see it. The Masters from A to B to C to Eminem. Thank you once again. God bless you. God bless the kids. And until we meet again in this platform, God be with you and be good. Let's go.